Hello.
Hello, how's
Do
it
you,
going,
hey,
mate?
do you realise what day it is today?
What day it is today, or what day it is when this goes out?
The day it is today. Today.
Today, it's Thursday.
Do you know what day it is? What special day it is?
Earth Day.
St George's Day.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
We should be we
Yeah.
should be, we should be running around with flags on our backs like the Irish do, and we never do we?
They never make as much of George's Day as they do Paddy's Day, do they?
No, it's very bizarre, isn't it?
I'll have a Guinness later. Well, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not Paddy's Day, is it?
No, no.
So yeah, I've got a gig later. But yeah, they never make as much of St George's Day as they do St Patrick's. But yeah, I don't know why that is. I mean, there's a connotation with the English flag, isn't there, that people don't like. I mean, I don't get it, but there is. You know, it's classed as nationalistic.
I know it's a bit weird, isn't it? I don't understand that either. But yeah, I just never understood why we go out and celebrate. Well, I've never gone out and celebrated St Patrick's Day, to be honest with you, because I've not been that type of person. I was always like, why would I want to go out and get dead excited about Paddy's Day when I'm not Irish? You know.
I just like the culture of it, though. I mean, I've obviously over the years been out on both St George's Day and St Paddy's Day, but St Patrick's Day. But don't they like have the day off and stuff?
They probably do.
Proper national holiday for them, isn't it? Whereas we don't really do that. I'm gigging tonight, so I'm glad you reminded me of that because I obviously chat to people that I'm emceeing tonight. So yeah. So as I mentioned, like I couldn't sleep last night, so I thought I've got like my comedy's coming to a really good bit. I'm really enjoying it. I've got my set really. I've got like two or three different connotations of my set that I can do depending on what the room's like. I did a gig in Peterborough the other day, and it was like there was only probably about maximum 10 out of 50 people that were my age or younger. So it was to a lot of older people. And I always used to worry about that. So I'd go on and look, I'd go, this ain't going to go very well, me talking about swinging and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I totally like changed my set round and did really well. It was great. But what I've like realised that like since doing like I've just been going and tweaking this and tweaking that every time I do a gig, I'll try something a bit different with stuff. So I realised that I've not really focused on new material as much. And I thought to myself, what can I like? So I've got like my whiteboard. I bought a massive whiteboard, and it now looks like the Beautiful Mind, the film. It's like I got up and did that. There's nothing intelligent on there like what he did. There's no formulas. There's stuff like addictions, annoyance, loves, hates, jobs. Hobbies, failed hobbies was an interesting one. But I just wanted to say,
Go on, what are your failed hobbies? Go on.
failed hobbies. I've got on there bike cycling. I've got a cycle in the garage, right? That we both bought bikes. It was we spent 500 quid. So I think mine might have been 400 quid, and then it was about 700 quid in total we spent on bikes. I rode the bike back from the shop, and Lottie rode James' bike back from the shop. I mean, going back 2 years now, I've had this bike in the garage for 2 years. I think I've been out on it twice. So that's a failed. Do you know when I was a kid and I had my paper round, you'd never get me off my bike. I was on it all the time.
I know we talked about that on the pod, didn't we, about bikes?
Yeah. Funnily enough, though, one of my annoyances, the top one, is cyclists. So there's a correlation there. Maybe I feel like I can't go out on the bike now because I don't want to be that prick on a bike that gets in the way. But yeah, some of my other failed hobbies, various martial arts. I've done loads of different martial arts and boxing and stuff in my time. Never stuck to it. Climbing, that was an interesting one. So I had a bit of I went and did like indoor climbing, did loads of courses. I went and did some outdoor climbing, bought all the gear, probably lasted 6 months, never did it again. I threw my climbing gear away last year, and someone said, "Do you fancy going climbing?" But yeah, anyway, so there's that one. I've put football because I've too old for it now, but over the years I've gone in and out playing 5-a-side, playing 11-a-side. What does that one say? Oh, I don't think these are really hobbies, but the things that I kind of played at. So I joined the Labour Party and was a campaigner for the Labour Party for a couple of years, and then that kind of went by the wayside. But I think that was more because Jeremy Corbyn took over the party, and I didn't really think he was very good. And I've put also, I was on the parish council for about 6 months, and didn't stick to that. And then I have put gardening. I got green fingers for about 2 or 3 years, where I'd grow potatoes and stuff like that, and that never went anywhere. And skiing, I got into skiing after we used to go when we were kids, and I got into it again with my cousin. I never bought the skis though. But yeah, they're like my. There's going to be loads more than that.
I've never done anything like that. Like spent a load of. I mean, I had to go cycling. I mean, when I was in Liverpool, when I had me flat in Liverpool, like I was right on the edge of like Nugent Park, massive park, and I used to go out. I got a bike and I was out there every night. And then when I moved away from there, I never really cycled. But now the kids, I'll probably get back into that. But with walking, you can step in and step out of it. Do you like that? And I like, now the weather's getting a bit better. I woke up this morning, I was out this morning, the sun's shining, it's great, mental health and everything is brilliant. I love walking. But I'll start taking the kids up more Vama. So from where I live, I can pick the kids up from school on a Friday. We can go up more Vama and get back down, and we can be back in the house for like 7:30, so it's great. Taking
that like a mini mountain.
Yeah, the back of Mould.
Yeah. Jane says, because we're up there for a week in August at some point, dog sitting for my mum, and she said you'll have to go and meet Charlie and maybe do some bits for the pod. So we'll have to maybe do that, maybe go and do that more van.
Yeah, definitely.
I was thinking Snowdon, but maybe that might be a step too far.
Conway Mountain's quite nice, but you can drive up it, and you can drive halfway up it. It's not as strenuous for you, Chris. Yeah. And I don't know, for all these smokers and stuff like that. And if you go into Conway, actually, you can do the walls and all that. So.
Yeah, but I might smoke, but I've got massive feet, so.
Oh yeah, Bilbo.
Yeah. Now the most interesting thing.
Mr. Baggins. Are your toes hairy? Yeah, you got hairy toes.
Have you?
No. I used to. I reckon it was just when I was using that Alpacin I had hairy toes. Honestly.
Said fucking hell. Round them up, bring them back up.
I think it was when I was using Alpacin. I had to shave my toes. It was a bit embarrassing. But honestly, I think it was the Alpacin. It did fuck all to me hair. But this German engineering for hair, it did sod all for me hair. But my toes, I could pair my toes. The hair's on my toes.
I've just got this image of you looking down when you get out of the shower and Kevin Keegan's there looking up at you.
Yeah. So I know I haven't got hairy toes, but yeah, that was honestly Alpacin was very, I don't know, very.
So have you had any hobbies that you've kind of gone full boring, like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, and then you've just not?
When I was younger, I was into fishing, or was I into fishing? I don't know if that was just because of my dad, and my dad sort of like got me into fishing, and I never did it when I was older. I did when I was young. You're going to be a rock star. I was in a couple of bands and that. Did all that. But like hobby wise, I'm a Freemason. I suppose that's a bit of a hobby. And anything like that, I've been in that for years. And I'll probably stay in that for the rest of my life.
I get like with you. I think you're quite a sticker.
Yeah.
You're quite committed, and if you start doing something, I envy you for it, mate. Because I think you're very much like I'm going to do it, and you do it, and it's great. It's like a wonderful thing, but I suppose if you have to really be into something, don't you, and like kind of see the value of it to stay with it. But if you do, I think it's really good for your health, your mental health. Like walking, I do walk a bit, not enough though. I'd like to get back to COVID walking because that was.
I love me walking, but just getting out. I suppose I choose me times. I mean, I can have some great walks around here. I used to go out every Thursday morning walking. I haven't done that for a while. I need to get back into that.
Pod gets away, doesn't it now?
Yeah, it's pod time. But yeah, I've always wanted a jet ski. But I always have that in the back of my mind. It's a big expense. You got to carry it around. And is it something I'm going to enjoy? I love being on a jet ski while I'm away, but will I love a jet ski in British waters? Probably not.
So I went through a phase of it because I've spoken about I'm terrified of I won't go in the sea pretty much past my knees. I don't like it. I swam in the sea when I was a kid. I remember going to St Ives in Cornwall with my mate Cookie, and we were in the sea all day. It was really good. I don't know what happened to make me feel that I didn't like swimming in the sea. I love swimming. I'm pretty decent at it. I'm not a bad swimmer. But yeah, just something about not knowing what's under is tough.
I love it. I'm in it all the time with the kids. We're in it,
Auckland and stuff.
Yeah, we love it. We're just in there straight away.
So I think I need to challenge that fear. I think at some point I need to get over that. Whether I'm too old to think I need to challenge that fear or not, I don't know. But
you're never too old, mate. You're never too old. Just do it.
Kind of like the idea of going.
When you go to Benidorm, get on a boat trip and dive off the boat.
Well, that might be a little bit too much of a. You know what I mean? Might be a little bit too much. I don't know.
Do it.
Anyway, so you're a sticker then, really, and the money that I've spent on hobbies, climbing wasn't cheap. The shoes were expensive, and I bought all the Caribbean.
Especially size 13s.
13s, yeah, and they're fucking tight, mate. They're meant to be, aren't they? So you can feel everything. But I wasn't good at climbing, by the way. I was not great. I was like, I used to go climbing with my brother-in-law, who at the time was probably 11 or 12 stone. And they used to have to attach, when he belayed me, they had to attach a sandbag to him because I was 18 stone at the time. And he was slightly better than me. He'd get to the top of some of the harder ones, and I'd probably fail a couple of metres off the top or whatever, or a metre off the top. But I was pulling 18 stone up. Do you know what I mean? When I look back on it and I think, Jesus Christ, that's not bad going, I used to do all right. And maybe I'd be all right at it now because I'm probably 15 and a half, 16 stone now. So maybe I'd be okay at it. But yeah, the bike's probably the most expensive thing. And to be fair, it's still in the garage. So, I might challenge myself. Or maybe you could lay down a challenge for me. On the bike, and I'll have to pump the tyres up first, which is.
How about when we get to 5,000 followers, you've got to bike 5,000 miles in a Derby shirt.
Fuck off. Now, the most interesting one that I did last night, because I've got loves and I've got annoyances and I've got addictions. They were quite easy. Addictions: cigarettes, chocolate, alcohol, food binging, phone, and my wife. I'm addicted to her. That was quite an easy one. Annoyances, again, were quite easy. Now, the one that was amusing, I think, and I've never done this before, but James always called me a job gypsy. So, do you know how many jobs you've had in your life?
No, I'm like you. I've had loads.
So I'm 46. So I've had 30 years of what I call proper work. I did a couple of bits when I had a paper round and stuff like that before. And I wrote out the places that I could remember. And I know there's a couple of others. I know that I was a research assistant at uni and I've not added this into the mix. But I've had 26 jobs.
Yeah, I've had a fair few.
26 in 30 years.
You know what? It's experience. I don't understand people who have My my cousin, he's worked in Fords for like, I think since he was like 16, and he's just at 60, so he's been there for 44 years. He's just retired from Fords. Well, it's Jaguar Land Rover now, um, and so he's been there that long, you know. And he's loved every bit of it, you know what I mean. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't just be that, you know, do that for that long.
No, there's people that can. I mean, I remember Simon when he went to Cat One. He was like, it was the most boring job ever, and he just said you need to get into factory mode. Just like clock in, do your work, go home. And yeah, I think me and you are different to that. And I think
We seek the excitement, don't we? The challenge, and you know,
shiny object syndrome. Yeah,
yeah.
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 It's,
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason I've stayed with Jane for such a long period of time, I think, is A, because she's very patient, and B, because, um, I'm not the best looking guy in the world, and maybe I'd never find anybody else again, you know. But it's one of them, innit? But I've stuck to that. Marriage is the one thing that I've really, really stuck to. But it's easy if you love someone, you know. It's easy.
Yeah.
And I'm not a cheat. I'm not a person that I don't really look at other women in any, you obviously you'll notice other women, but I've never had any kind of dalliance or anything like that, and I never would. I think I was cheated on when I was younger, and I think it's the most horrible thing you can do to anybody.
Oh yeah.
So I
Yeah.
certainly wouldn't put anyone through it.
No.
They
No.
might
I would
be
like.
happy if I fucked off and found somebody else. But yeah, it's interesting when you link it out. So like my first job was the soap factory, which we've talked about on here.
Oh yeah. You worked in the
I
soap.
loved that job. I loved that job. They were closing it though, so they had a factory operation in Riddings, which is the one that I worked at, and then they had one in Skelmersdale up in like I think that's the northeast. And yeah, they decided it got bought out by a Kuala Lumpur company, Kuala Lumpur Lumpers, and so I left and got a job at another factory, which was just literally down the road from, well, it's a warehousing job. That was a good job as well. But I always had this thing in me that I'm not a factory worker. I want to do something that is a bit better than that. So then I went into window sales, and if I count all the different times I've gone back to SafeStar and then left and then gone back, it probably goes up to 30 jobs that I've had, plus separate jobs.
I mean, when I was little, I mean, I had when I was little. That's again. I had like a milk round. I never had a paper round. I had a milk round. So
Yeah.
I used to go out with the milkman, and there was always remember there was like a little rounders bat in the front of the milk float, and he said if anybody comes and gets the milk, just whack them. That was like when I was still at school, So everybody had the paper rounds. I had the milk round, and then when I was at school, it was a mechanic. Honestly, I used to work in a mechanics,
Yeah.
and I used to help him out. He was there on his own, and I used to just go around. He was like a friend of the family, Peter, and I used to go around there and help him out.
I think then even from like an early age, because a lot of people, a lot of kids back in our day didn't do fuck all. They lived off their pocket money and all that kind of stuff. So I think like what we do now, I think it's like testament, and I think it's always been there because I had a few jobs where I went and helped people out and stuff as well. I had the paper round, but like, I think like as a paper boy, we were always a bit jealous of the odd person that you knew that was on the milk round because it was better money. You got better money for doing a milk round than you did for the paper round. So I had a morning round, an evening round, a collecting round, and a Sunday round papers. So I did the whole lot. And in the summer, I used to do 2 morning rounds. I used to cover for people that were off. So I'd do mine, I'd get up extra early, do mine, or do the other one, and then go and do another one. And I reckon I felt like I was the richest kid in school because I'd probably earned 20 quid a week.
Yeah.
And I probably did more hours doing that than I do now on my recruitment business. But, yeah, it's very interesting. But I think that I always thought it's the first time I've ever, and I know I've missed 2 jobs off there as well. But some of the jobs that I've listed up there, I did while I was at uni. So sometimes I did 3 or 4 jobs at the same time while I was studying as a mature student to keep the bills paid. So like there's 2 or 3 up there that I did, and I did a couple of agency jobs and whatnot while I was at uni. And I always thought, like, Jane calls me a job gypsy. I always thought it was a little bit of a negative thing. But when I look at all the different types of things that I've done, it's actually quite, I think it's built like a resilience and just a broader knowledge. I'd be interested to hear from like the listeners what they kind of, how many jobs they've had, because I know people like your pal that's been in the same job since leaving school, and that's great, because I mean, if he's been there since he was 16 and he's now 60, he's going to have a right good pension.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's probably why you can retire now. But there is that, just staying somewhere for your pension. I mean, the very first job that I had, where it was like a proper pay slip and stuff like that, was MFI. They opened an MFI at the end of our road in Italy, in Liverpool, and I just applied. I think I was 16, and I was just going to college, and I got a job. I got a job in there, and yeah, it was a little bit mad, to say the least. I remember Gail Tilsley from Coronation Street opened the MFI.
Wow,
it was mad. Yeah, MFI. But yeah,
I was about to say that's her with the neck in it, but it's not. That's Deirdre, in it.
Yeah.
You don't care about Tracy, do you, Ken?
That furniture was shit. It was awful. It was fucking terrible stuff. That MFI furniture.
My dad used to work in the machine shop for DFS years ago, in Alfreton. He used to do like the frames. He was on a machine. He was on a bandsaw. I think he used to do. So he used to do all the intricate bits and bobs. But yeah, it's mad when you think back. But I think, like, I remember my dad telling me that when he was a lad, you literally, I mean, you could literally, if you didn't like a job, you'd go and start a job on the Monday morning. If you didn't like it, you could quit on the Friday and have a new job on the Monday. It was like, the job market was a lot better, but like obviously Thatcher fucked industry up.
Manufacturing went, didn't it?
Yeah, but I kind of remember that I wasn't particularly worried about it. I got the job at the soap factory because my mum worked there, so I literally started on the first Monday, it might have even been my birthday, 16th birthday. I had the interview before I was old enough, and then I went and started. And I loved that job. It was just like that sense of freedom, having the cash, and I was earning £51.80 to start with, so I just did the evenings. I did 4 evenings a week, and then Friday was overtime, which was great. I used to do the overtime if I could. You had to be 18 to do the hour at the end of the night. So as soon as I was 18, I started doing that. It might have been 17. But yeah, I remember then, the place was shutting down. I kind of jumped before it closed, because I used to remember I was at the end of the estate and I used to watch people from the soap factory, like, going past at the end of or going to work or whatever.
Do you have any regrets? Like, I wish you would have stayed in that job, or I wish you would have stayed there, or?
I think like that job, my first ever job. If that I honestly believe that if that factory had have kept going, I reckon I could have stayed there forever, because I knew my job inside out. It was decent. It was it was all right. I enjoyed it. I could have worked up the ladder, and yeah, maybe I could have stayed there. But I always, like, the biggest regret I have, and it's not really a regret anymore. I think I've kind of grown out of it. But the biggest regret that I had was not going in the forces. So I always, like, from the age of
you mentioned that,
yeah, from very young age, I wanted to go in the forces. My dad, originally the Marines. And then my dad kind of talked me out of that, so I kind of said, well, I'll go in the army. Then he talked me out of that. It was like quite funny, because he was like, you don't want to be getting chased by bullets, lad. And then his mate lad was in the RAF, and he came round and had a chat with me. And I thought about it years later. My dad pushed me towards the RAF, which I applied for, and I failed the medical. And he was like,
you failed your medical, your feet were too big.
I'll tell you in a minute. Yeah, I'll tell you in a minute. He pushed me towards the RAF, so I applied and did all that. And then I thought about it years later because, like, I went back to school I did A levels so that I could go in and try and be a pilot. That was my dream when I was a kid. I wanted to be a pilot. I watched Top Gun and got a hard on basically, so I did that. But then I dropped out of that, so I applied for aircrew. But I did think about it because as a kid, when I was like, I want to be in the RAF, probably from the age of about 14 was when I thought, right, I'm going to go in the RAF. And I thought, my dad's like said, you don't want to be chased by bullets. I wanted to be a pilot. So he's like, fucking more than happy for you to be chased by missiles, son. You know what I mean? I failed the medical. I was 2 pounds overweight. And I failed on hearing. That was the main one. The other stuff, they said we can live with the other stuff if it weren't for the hearing. And they said to me, it looks like you've got an ear infection or you've had an ear infection. Come back in 6 months and we'll redo the medical. And I never went back. So that was a big regret of mine. I also had a cluster of warts on my hand. And I don't know why you can't go in the RAF for that. But yeah, I had that. So yeah.
A cluster of warts.
Cluster of warts, mate. I'm a warty bastard.
Nice.
I was quite lucky though because I was masturbating.
You've been messing around some glory holes, have you?
I'm going to say I was masturbating vigorously at this point in time, so I'm quite lucky I've not got genital warts, I suppose, really. But yeah, so that's the big regret. What about yourself?
Regrets? No, I've got no regrets of what I job-wise now about what I've done, like through my career. I obviously wish things would have been a little bit easier, but you know, it's. I mean, I had a good job. But when I was going over to China and stuff, the guy who owned the company, I mean, I left there, I jumped from there because I knew the business was going to go tits up, and I think he was a bit pissed off that I'd got off. But on the flip side of that, he wouldn't have been asked about me because the business did go tits up. He wouldn't have been asked about me. You know what I mean? It's not a regret. I just wish things would have went different. You know, they would have ran out differently. That's about it. I really loved that job. Obviously, because I was travelling quite a bit. I was earning decent money. I was travelling quite a bit. You know, and just life was great then. But now,
you're not a live in the past person either, are you? You're a sticker, and you're not. James, another thing that James says about me is that I live in the past too much. So when I left Ford and Stanley, like I thought I'd got really good friends there, and turns out not. You know, so I do live in the past a little bit with that, and there's a bit.
You have to move on. I think every phase in your life, you just have to move on and put that behind you. You know, there's no regrets. Things happen for a reason. Yeah. You know, it's just about moving forward and just being. You know, we're all scared of the unknown, aren't we? Everyone's scared of the unknown, and that's what our mental problems are as well. You know, it's about the uncertainty of what lies ahead, but. I suppose my mantra is, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think letting go of stuff is something I'm trying to learn. Trying to you know, if I have a bad gig, I'll reminisce on it for ages. So now I take on board the Milliken rule. Sarah Milliken came out with it ages ago. She said you're allowed to ruminate on your gig until 11 o'clock in the following day. So, like, you're allowed to think it was shit or it was good. You could have had the biggest smashing gig in your life. You could have just done the Apollo and roofed it, and you can only think about it until 11 o'clock the next day. Because the fact of the matter is, stuff that's happened in the past, it might formulate your mindset, but it's not going to change what happens in the future. You know, only you can do that. Only you can take a positive step and go, right, I'm going to go this way.
Yeah, you know, I mean, your brain, your mind, it's just like, you know, you're conscious. You mean, we've got the subconscious, which we don't really talk to, but your conscious mind, all it's doing is it's protecting you. That's what it's there for. It's to protect you. So it's just thinking about the worst case scenarios. You know, we don't know what I don't know what somebody's going to say to us. Are they going to bollock us for something? We don't know that. You know, how many times do you think I'm going to go, you know, when you're working, I'm going to get right bollocking you. and but it's never happened. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like you just sort of like thinking of the worst case scenario all the time, and it's untangling those emotions in your brain, and just trying to pull them apart and work out what's actually really happening. Just take a step back and just look at it. That's what I do a lot of now.
Yeah.
Because I can just get so worked up sometimes.
I think I suffer a bit of paranoia, and like that holds on to stuff. So like the regret of the Ford and Stanley stuff.
Yeah.
I got on really well with my boss, and yeah, it's not been we've not really been in touch and stuff. I got a glimmer it was about probably 6 months ago now, just out of the blue. He messaged me. And I messaged him back. I think he messaged me back once, and then that was it. He just ghosted me after that. And I just thought, I think he was. I don't know whether he was trying to figure out who I was working with, because I'm in recruitment.
Yeah.
I don't do anything that they do anymore, really. It's all construction-y stuff that I do. But I think the paranoia of it, and like there's, I think I find it hard because I've got a low opinion of myself a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I find it hard to other people don't have that low opinion. You know what I mean? I think I know you don't have a low opinion of me. We banter and we have a laugh and a crack.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever gone away and thought, what does Charlie think of me? Because I know what you think of me. We've been friends for such a long time.
Of course.
Yeah, I know you think I'm a cunt. That's it. You see, I would tell you.
I'm very transparent.
Yeah. I not with that blur on you, not. I'd tell you what I think, and you tell me what you think, and that I think that's the best way to be. Just quickly before we wrap up, I can't believe the last episode we talked about tea for 35 minutes, and this time we just talked about our failures and what life's about. But I hope this is a good episode for people. I said, all I ever wanted to do when I was a kid was go in the forces. What was your big dream as a kid?
Yeah. Info at Funnyfarm. Hello at funnyfarmpod.co.uk. Email in.
Yeah, drop us an email. What was yours, Chaz?
My dream when I was little. I don't think I had one.
Didn't have one.
No.
No, you didn't want to play for Everton.
No, I didn't really. I didn't have a dream. I mean, when I started getting into my teens, I wanted to be like
Music.
Music. It was music. And that I'll be a part of it in some form. We've spoken about it, haven't we? When I wanted to get into like lighting or audio and stuff, and audio visual stuff. But yeah, that was about it. But it never happened.
Never too late, bro. Never too late.
It's never too late, but I'm happy as I am now. Yeah, it's all about being happy, isn't it? That's it.
Well, there's going to be a few Chris Richmond productions happening in the future, I think, acting-wise, so that we're always, there's going to be a need for people to come and, do stuff. So that'd be cool.
As long as there's a part in it for me when I'm dressed up in suzzies, that'll be fun.
100%, mate. I think anything that I write moving forward, I think it's gonna be based around Charlie in suspenders.
Yeah, good.
Write in, let us know what you think. What were your dreams? What are your failed hobbies? How many jobs have you had? Are you a job gypsy like me and Charlie, or have you stuck out a job for donkey's years? And what do you think of it? Hello at funnyfarmpod.co.uk. Add us on, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok and all the other stuff, Grindr.
Follow Chris on Grindr, Bilbo Baggins Ring.
And also follow me as well. Follow me. I'm a comedian. I want to do a tour, but I need people. Follow me. Chris Richmond on Facebook, Chris Rich Comedian on Instagram and TikTok. We love you and we'll see you tomorrow. Unless it's the weekend, then we will.
See you guys.
See you later.